It is essential to realize the vast scope of this stereotype. It was transmitted through music. Okay, let me keep it together. It was transmitted through music, titles, and lyrics. Folk sayings, folk culture, something I addressed previously in the last class and or live. Folk saying, literature, children's stories, and games. Postcards, restaurant names, and menus. And thousands of articles. White women, men, and children across the country embraced the image of the fat, wide-eyed, grinning black man. It was perpetuating over and over, shaping and enduring attitudes toward African Americans for centuries. In fact, a stereotype may be so consistently and authoritatively transmitted in each generation from parent to child that it seems almost a biological fact. Jim Crow. The foppish. Let's look at what foppish means really quick before I continue. Let's look that up. Foppish. This is coming from Merriam-Webster. Foppish means obsolete, foolish, silly. This is from Cambridge Dictionary. Foppish. Of a man extremely interested in your appearance and wearing decorative clothes. This is from dictionary.com. Foppish. Definition: resembling or befitting a top, exclusively refined and fastidious in taste and manner. Foppish definition and meaning, according to Collins Dictionary: someone who is disapproved of how they dress and what they perceive to be beautiful or expensive clothes, and they're very proud of their appearance. Foppish, vocabulary.com. A man who is constantly checking out his outfit in the mirror might be foppish, or someone who loves dressing up in fancy clothes. So we have multiple definitions. We have foppish, meaning the first one to mention is an adjective. I think they're both adjectives here. Foppish, according to Merriam-Webster, foppish is obsolete, foolish, silly. And then also, according to Cambridge and dictionary.com and Collins Dictionary, foppish is someone who is flamboyant, someone who always checks themselves out in the mirror, always standing in the mirror, always dressing to a fancy level, but is used as negative though. So it's not someone who can actually dress, based upon the context that we're using this in with Jim Crow. Not someone who actually can dress nice and who actually looks good and is presentable. That's not what it's alluding to. It's alluding into a negative thing. Is using it as a derogatory. So if it's not used for good, if it's used some negative, so then it's a fool in a suit. That's basically what he's trying to say. An idiot or idiotic person, or someone who don't have the smarts or wits, but yet is dressed up in a suit. They look goofy, or wearing expensive clothing, but don't know how to wear it right. Maybe the shirt is too tight, maybe the pants are it's nice, but it just looks disheveled and looks like they don't know how, or they're dressed very nice, but they're just goofy and extremely foolish. But it's an insult. So it's, as it says here, a kernel of truth, meaning a very small truth, but expounded upon way beyond its bounds and limits of what it actually means. I mean, it basically means a kernel of truth beyond steroids. It's atomic at this point. That's what I'm getting from this. So back to Jim Crow, Jim Crow Museum, the caricature of Jim Crow, the foppish black caricature, Jim Crow, became the image of the black man in the mind of the white Western world. This image was even more powerful in the North and West because many people never had come into contact with African American individuals. It has been argued that the image of the minstrel clown has been the most persistent and influencing image of blacks in American history. Words from the folk song Jim Crow, published by E. Riley in 1830, further demonstrate the transmission of this stereotype of African Americans to society. I'm not going to read these lyrics, but if you come across it, you should read it. The next paragraph. The method of representing African Americans as shuffling or drawling, cracking and dancing, wisecracking and high-stepping buffoons evolved over time. Self-efficating African American actors began to play these parts both on the stage and in movies. Burt Williams was a popular African American artist who performed this stereotype for white society. This response was also widely enthusiastic, as 26 million Americans went to the movies to see Al Jolson and the Jazz Singer. Here's another example. The Savage. Movies were and are still a powerful medium for the transmission of stereotypes. Early silent movies, such as The Wooing and Wedding of a Coon in 1904, The Slave in 1905, the Sambo series, 1909-1911, The N-Word in 1915, offered existing stereotypes through a fascinating new medium. The premiere of Birth of a Nation during the Reconstruction period in 1915 marked the change in emphasis from the happy Sambo and the pretentious and inept Jim Crow stereotypes to that of the savage. In this D.W. Griffith film, the Ku Klux Klan tames the terrifying savage African American through lynching. Following emancipation, the image of the threatening brute from the dark continent was revitalized. Acts of racial violence were justified and encouraged through the emphasis on this stereotype of the savage. The urgent message to whites was, we must put blacks in their place or else. The urgent message to whites was, we must put blacks in their place or else. Wow. So, as this classroom is coming to a close for this session, let me ask this. How you doing? Think about how you're feeling. If you're feeling anything, what are you thinking? If you're thinking anything, if you're still watching up to this point, what's going on through your mind? Let's take a moment just to breathe. Deep breath in and exhale. Another deep breath in and then exhale. So we cover different subtopics within the topic of blackness, from the language, the etymology of the word, to the different definitions of the word, to the synonyms of the word. In the beginning of this class, we addressed whiteness and how whiteness drives around and culture, and also is empowered and strengthened through culture and power dynamics, and its vehicles are race, relations, sexual orientation, ideologies, so forth and so on. Religion, language, so forth and so on. Whiteness in film. Now, this is all a part of my study, comedic Semitic hypothesis, and a part of my study, or a portion of my study, is entitled, which this classroom is under, this particular topic of whiteness and blackness, is under Whiteness in Film, how images affect the Black psyche, or how images impact cultures. Whiteness in Film, how images impact people. Those different talking points, we read a couple articles, and we're closing out on Jim Crow Museum article, okay? Trying to really understand that blackness is none of the things that you or I were told or nurtured, nature versus nurture, nurtured to believe. There's a lot of notions, characteristics, and origins that are misconceptions. And reading this last article, a lot of these characteristics, origins, and notions, stereotypes were placed in social media, the arts, multimedia, all facets and forms, from literature to photography to sketches and drawings, paintings, to pictures in motion pictures, to the animation, silent films, classic Hollywood, so forth and so on. We addressed out of Africa theory, and what I call it or name it as part of the comedic Semitic hypothesis is out of the motherland of Africa theory. We read a little bit of that, and we talked about first humans and genetics briefly. We talked about, but the most important thing is, I think that I kind of want my audience, want you guys to kind of get whiteness in film, how images impacts cultures, and is done so through whiteness in film. So that's all I have for right now. If you made it this far, hopefully you enjoyed it. Press that like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to comment, whatnot. Hopefully this wasn't too much for you, but until next time, I look forward to seeing you in the next classroom, CWP in the Classroom. I'm your host, Kevin Black, and always remember to be smart, be happy, and be healthy. Take care, guys.